Today in the lean-to we've got the Chevette, and I've got some heads in the back. They are double hump heads with 202 valves, and we're going to be putting those on because currently the heads that are on it are 305 heads, and I'm going to get those put on and hopefully it'll run a little better. It's got the intake off, valve covers off, distributors out. And now we're going to pull the exhaust manifolds off and drop them down so we can get to the bottom bolts and try to get these heads off tonight. Okay, we got the exhaust manifolds off, so now we can get to all the head bolts on both sides. A lot of people think this car is really a pain to work on because it's a big motor and small car, but the way it sits in here, everything's easy to reach. Okay, got all the head bolts out. Now I'm going to try to get this thing off of here. Okay, it's loose. Here we go. Okay, got the tools all cleaned up. I'm gonna call it a night for the night. Here's a picture of these new heads. They're double humps with the big valves. So they'll probably lose a little compression because the other ones were 58cc chambers. These are probably 64. And here's the underside of these other heads. These are little 305 heads with little bitty valves in them. Should be a good upgrade. Here we are, back day 2 of the project. Got this whole head torqued down. Got them painted orange because it's, you know, extra horsepower. This head here, getting ready to torque it down. Just got all the bolts snugged up. So, coming along nicely. Should hopefully have this thing running by the end of the night. Got the rockers on, not adjusted, just on. Got the intake cleaned up, starting to put it on. Got to do some work underneath before I put the exhaust back on, but it is coming together. Got the thermostat in, got the exhaust manifold to put back on. I decided to go ahead and paint those black with some high temp paint, see if it'll look a little better for a while. Got both of those on, got my new spark plugs in, got the distributor back in. Making slow progress, don't have any help today, so it's slow and steady over here. Here's an update on the Chevette. I got the new heads put on it, but I hadn't had them checked, and they had been milled at some point, so something was off, and I had valves and pistons meeting each other. So I pulled the motor out. Nothing was hurt, but I didn't have any heads to put on it, so got everything out of the engine bay, cleaning it up. And I'm gonna section the cross member behind the rack. I'm gonna cut that out and box it in on the bottom so that I can get a bigger oil pan in here, because the oil pan that was on it was cut down to fit. And yeah, that's where we're at on this. I'm gonna try to get it going again. It's on some nice home built ramps there, not sketchy at all. Okay, got the cross member cut. Now I'm going to go get another cutting device, probably a cutoff wheel, and cut the front of that off. This is what we ended up with underneath. I just cut that section out of the cross member here, this here, and folded it under, and I'm going to weld the front lip back together, and we're going to plate the ends here with some plate steel, weld that all up, try to make it as solid as possible, and then we're going to maybe gusset it a little bit, and then see how it looks once we get done. There's the front view, that's the lip. We'll clamp that up, clean it up, and weld it together.
Alright, he's welding his end caps in down here to steady everything up. See a fire.
That's what happens when you weld oil. Oh well, don't worry about it.
Once all the oil burns up, it'll quit burning, and then it'll be nice and clean.
It needs water. Oh. Big stone tractor cleaned this with. Pretty well, man. It is pretty well. If I could just see the dang thing. Oh, there it is. Maybe. You don't need to see it.
Okay, back on the Chevette today, working on the exhaust. This is the passenger side pipe out of the car, and I'm trying to fix some exhaust leaks, and I was cleaning this up to check the welds, and I found that this here, I don't know if you can see that, see the split in it right there. So I'm going to try to weld that up. I don't know if it'll work, but otherwise I'll have to try to remake this pipe again. But we're going to try to weld that up and see how that does. Well, I don't know if that'll work, but once I grind it down and clean it up, it might work. You can always hope. Yeah, I started cleaning it up, and I got a new disc for my 2-inch grinder. I'm gonna try to get a little smoother on there. Well, it's not perfect, but I'd say if we put maybe double collector gaskets on it, it'll probably seal up a lot better than it did. Just finished the engine swap on the Chevette. Got the Mercruiser out of the Bel Air in it, burning some smoke off the manifolds. pretty good. We'll take it for a test drive, see how she runs. Okay, we're test driving the Chevette. First time it's been on the road with this motor. Just cruising through town. It seems to be doing all right. Alternator's charging, it's got plenty of oil pressure, and it's not running too hot, so looks good to me.